Well, national government has taken over control of the troubled Northwest Province. The chairperson of the National Council of Provinces, Thandi Modise, has confirmed that she has received a communication from the president himself in this regard. This will now be the first time an entire province has been placed under administration. President Ramaphosa told Modise's office that cabinet has invoked Section 100 of the Constitution to take the action. The Department of Cooperative Governance will also take over most of the municipalities. The province, to remind you, has been marred by violent protests, with many calling for Premier Supra Mahumapelo to resign. He placed himself on special leave, in fact, and appointed Finance MEC Wendy Nelson as acting Premier. Let's now get more clarity on exactly how this process is going to work. Welcoming to the show, ANC Parliament Spokesperson Moloto Mothapo joins me on the line. Mr. Mothapo, good afternoon to you, sir. Section 100 of the Constitution, what exactly is that?
Well, in terms of Section 100 of the Constitution, it states that when a province cannot or does not fulfill an executive obligation in terms of the Constitution or legislation, the national executive may intervene by taking any appropriate steps to ensure fulfillment of that obligation. So in this regard, once as it is required by the Constitution, the President has informed the National Council of Provinces. The House must then initiate its own process, which I believe should be happening very soon. The notification of the President will be brought to the attention of the rest of the members of the Council during the course of the week. And also, it will be followed by the initiation of a process that should not last more than 180 days as stipulated in the Constitution. That will entail independently conducting an own assessment as the legislature. That's the national executive.
Mr. Mothapo, Section 1A is an instruction from national government to comply with provisions. Section 1B is national government is taking over. Which section are you referring to? Is it Section 1A that's being implemented or Section 1B of the Constitution?
The section that I'm referring to is a section about taking over, putting the province under administration. I don't have that particular section with me.
It's the entire provincial. It's the entire provincial government that is possibly going to be taken over, or just certain departments?
It's Section 101 of the Constitution. Yeah.
So that'll be the entire provincial government being taken over, Mr. Mothapo, or just certain departments within the provincial government?
That is in terms of the notification, yes.
Okay, and for any consequences of the Premier, possibly, what is Section 100? Any consequences for the Premier as far as the Section 100 is concerned? What may it require him to do? May he be recalled? Will he have to step down?
Well, the nitty-gritties of that intervention, Gareth, we will leave that to the national executive because they are the ones that have taken this decision. We as Parliament, our preoccupation is ensuring that we initiate a process to independently satisfy ourselves that all the constitutional procedures have been followed and that there exist circumstances that warrant such kind of an intervention. So as to how this intervention, the form and the nitty-gritties that it will take, it is up to the Cabinet to pronounce on that.
Let's talk a little bit, Mr. Mothapo, if you could, about the 180 days that it may take for a decision to be made. Once a decision has been made to make a decision, that could be sometime in November before a decision is made. Surely there's more urgency to this matter, considering what we've seen over the past 3 weeks.
Well, perhaps, Gareth, I think the most important thing to understand is that in terms of the Constitution, it states that the President must, within 14 days of having intervened in a province, notify the National Council of Provinces of such a decision. So what that means is that the 180 days within which the National Parliament or the National Council of Provinces has to conduct its own assessment relating to this notification does not necessarily stop the intervention from existing. So the two processes can coexist simultaneously.
What do government employees do tomorrow when they get back to work, considering that there is now this Section 100 being implemented of the Constitution? They're going to still insist that they're on a go slow. We could see the possibility of more protests. What do government employees do tomorrow? What do you tell them today?
Well, from the side of Parliament, really, because our job, once we receive such kind of a notification, we have to initiate a parliamentary process. Of course, we do understand that there will be some anxieties, but really those matters, we believe that government should be able to deal with them, because as you would know, government has been working on the ground, as we have learned from the media and from various statements of government. They've been working on the ground, so government should be able to deal with those matters. We as Parliament will ensure that, as we are required in terms of the Constitution, the entire process will be done as it is provided and within the stipulated period, and ensure that we are able to make a pronouncement as to what is it that our assessment has been able to establish with regard to this decision of the Cabinet.
Mr. Mothapo, I'll perhaps leave this as my last question to you, and I'm going to quote from the statement: "The matter will follow an ordinary course of parliamentary procedure, which includes it being transferred or referred to a committee or committees of the House for processing." What kind of committee or committees could we be looking at? Because that sounds like a lot of bureaucracy and red tape that this process is going to have to go through.
Yeah, well, we cannot determine at the moment as to whether the matter will be dealt with by a committee or committees of Parliament, because that is a decision that ought to be taken by the House itself. But what we are indicating there in the statement is that when a notification of this kind is made to the National Council of Provinces, Parliament must deal with the matter, and Parliament always, when it deals with the issues, it refers issues to committees or a committee. So there could be a multi-committee mechanism in form of an ad hoc committee that might be created for this particular purpose, seeing that it is a matter that involves the entire administration of the Northwest with variety of departments, or it can be for each particular line department being referred to the line committee that deals with a specific province. So it can be dealt with by various committees in the National Council of Provinces instead of. So those are the options that are before the House. But as time goes on, the Parliament will be able to update as to how this matter will be dealt with.
Mr. Mothapo, thank you very much indeed for your time this afternoon. Moloto Mothapo, ANC Parliament Spokesperson, joining us on the line.